Welcome in to Moving the Chains, brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. I'm Kevin Thomas alongside Jerel Hendricks. Got a great interview today, a very special guest, the head coach of the Orangeburg-Wilkinson Bruins, Chris Carter. Coach, how you doing today?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Well, we appreciate your time. We really do. If this is you guys' first time tuning in, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at Movin Chains, movingchains.com, and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and more. Coach Carter is in his third season with the Bruins. They finished the regular season at 7-3 overall in second place in Region 6 3A. Coach, let's start with you. Maybe some background right quick. How did you to get to the job now, Orangeburg-Wilkinson? Where you been? Where'd you come from? And how did you get here to this head man position?
Man, I tell you, if I go all the way back, well, we'd be sitting here for 5 hours. But I'll just start with, my first, first head coaching job. Of course, I started in Dalton, Georgia, and I am a graduate of Orangeburg-Wilkinson. But I started in Dalton, Georgia under Bill Chappell, but then I got my first head coaching job at Garinger High School in Charlotte. 0-60, hadn't won a game in 5 years. The second year, we won a region championship there. And then I kind of moved on to Lake Marion. Stayed there at Garinger 2 years, then moved to Lake Marion. They were 2-59, stayed there 7 years. Had a plethora of good athletes coming through. So, you have those good athletes, they make you look good. But we was able to make it to the Lower State Championship. I always talked to Coach Jackie at Dillon. I said, man, if he wasn't there, he was standing in the way of my state. So, but we had a great run there. Then I got an opportunity to be athletic director and head coach at Edisto. They were 0-22. We broke the losing streak there, and then stayed there 3 years, 7 years as the AD, 3 years as a coach. And then I had a chance to return back to my alma mater, and I just jumped on it, and then now going into my third year.
Coach, we got to ask you about that. You being an OW grad, how special is it for you to be coaching there? And how special is it to you have success this early in your tenure? You've mentioned through your resume that you kind of turn these programs around, but it's got to be a little bit extra. You got a little extra something on it being at OW again.
Yeah, it is extra, but it's also a lot more pressure.
Okay.
The first year going in, it didn't turn out kind of like, you wanted. We went 3-8. We played against some really solid teams. And, of course, when you take on teams like, South Florence with the North Sellers, we had White Knoll, Gilbert, BC. I mean, those programs were really rolling. And, coming in, it was really rough. And, you come in and the expectations are really, really high from day one. And so that you have to go through that. And the toughest thing about when you come back home, going through it, it's like you're hearing this, but you're hearing this from people that that you went to school
Sure.
with. Like, man, what are you doing? Like, what? So it hits a little harder. The second year, I brought in Coach Jerry Brown. I brought in Coach Art Craig to help out, and we went 2-8. And so, right around that time, you hear the grumblings. But we graduated 38 seniors the first year. The second year, we were playing with like 15 freshmen, 10 sophomores. But again, as a coach, you can't go out and give the crowd sad story. You just got to take it on the chin. But those kids are really taking their knocks, the freshmen. And this year they had a chance to grow up. I think the realignment helped us out a lot too when it came to that.
For folks who haven't been able to see you guys play, Coach, what do you like to do on both sides of the ball? And then also, do you call plays for either side?
Yeah, I do. I do call the offense along with so we have some guys that also help out. Defensively, we're running basically a 4-2-5, a hybrid 4-3, and on the offensive side, we're kind of like that multiple formation type team. Orangeburg-Wilkinson in the past has been a Big 16 school when I came through. Not that like that, it's kind of unusual to see us have guys that go both ways, which, we do now. We have guys that go both ways, but we're a team that, we're going to put our athletes in the best position to be successful.
So, Coach, you mentioned kind of taking one on the chin in your lumps with the program. Your regular season finale didn't go the way you wanted it against Oceanside last week. How do you take that, going into this week in your bye before you start the playoffs and kind of build upon that and try to make that run, towards the state championship?
Yeah, take no take away no credit from Oceanside. They are a really good program. I think Coach has done a really good job, taking over. And the thing about it is when you go into those type situations, those games, you want to win, and you want to put out your kids in the best situation to win. But then you have to tell your kids right after that. I break it down into 3 different seasons. You got a preseason, regular season, then you have the playoffs. And so now there's nothing we can do about that. We got to move forward. We got to get ready for the playoffs, and you have to really redirect your kids from there. So it's kind of like you talk about it, you make your corrections, but then you got to move on because you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. But when I look at their program and some of the things I see, I can't help to say that I don't aspire on this end to see those same things here. And so I talk with Coach. I ask him, like, what are they doing there? Some of the things we not afford to do, like, getting out at 11 o'clock. But there are some things in their program that we can take and help make our kids a lot better.
You mentioned, Coach, you guys went 2-8 last year, but what did you see in that group over the offseason and in preseason to kind of let you know that you guys could have such a successful season here in 2024?
More sort of relationships. A lot of coaches are really, and this is one of the things I've always used in building programs. A lot of coaches, sometimes, especially when they're younger, you learn it as you get older, they kind of think the playbook or their system makes a program go. But I always say your relationship with the players makes any playbook go. So it's like if that kid knows that you have a relationship and you build that with them and you learn more about them, and they have that sense of I want to win for Coach, any playbook will work because now they're playing on a different level. And so what I saw with our guys and this year, I kind of saw where the team finally started becoming my team, and not feeling like the outsider trying to get the kids on board. I saw where kids were starting to get on board with me. And when I see that, I know, okay, now we're getting ready to turn the corner here.
Coach, you had a lot of kids get on board with you for sure. You guys won 7 games this year. Who are some of the names that we need to know as, building, really helped you, win those games this year and, get out to the state and these college recruiters and just shine a light on some of those players at Orangeburg-Wilkinson?
Yeah, I got to start with our seniors because those guys have been with me 3 years. But David Blanchard, he's a North-South player. He was selected there, his center. And it's a crazy story about him. When I first came in, he was a right tackle. And I was like, you're going to be a center. And I mean, it was like the world fell apart. And it was like, no, I'm a tackle. And now he's a all-region, all-state player. He has an offer from South Carolina State, the Citadel, Fayetteville State. Nick Payne is another senior that also was a senior that we had to move from safety to linebacker and back to safety. And he's been solid there. But we only have a total of 8 seniors. And so
wow.
And every one of those 8 seniors have contributed. Mark Bell, he'll tell you the story. I was getting ready to just say, hey, man, you're done. You can move on. He made a 180. Became one of our best leaders on the team. Jaden Skinner was a kid when I first got here. I moved the tackle and told him later you're going to be a tight end. And he fought that tooth and nail, but now he's really a solid blocking tight end for us. And Derek Niels, linebacker. These guys have all 8 of our seniors, I can go down the line. Even though it's only a small few, they are all contributing. They're all making a big impact. We did have some sophomores like James Ross, 6'5", 258 pounds. Clemson's looking at him. We got Jackson Glenn, another sophomore, 6'4". Our whole offensive line, besides one senior, comes back for the next 2 years. And Pickard, it's crazy, but these guys are like 6'3", 6'4", 290, 300 pounds. Running backs, they all come back. We Jordan Avenger, 6'2", 225. Derek Thomas, 5'9", more compact. But what's been really surprising out of all these guys, and I could go down and name Zion Howell, but the freshman quarterback we had, Brandon Peoples, came on as a 9th grader, and this is the first time I ever had a player grow up in front of me. Like I've had kids, he's going to be good in another year. But this is the first time I've ever seen a kid in the 9th grade come in and grow up from every week. And he's been making plays ever since then.
Coach, it's a bit odd, but, with the season extension this year due to the hurricane, you guys have a bye week before the playoffs start. Is that something that do you like that as a chance to kind of get healthy and reset, or would you rather just really roll right into it and keep playing ball?
I tell you, it's two-sided. I know when you got injuries, you're like, whew, thank you. And then when you don't have injuries and you're playing, you're like, let's go. But I really think it gives, the teams a little bit more time to prepare for each other, which makes it, a little more interesting. I don't mind it because, it's another season. In order to get the state championship, it's another 5 games. And so it's like you got to, gear up, may the strongest win. I know when we went with Lake Marion that year, we went to Lower State, we were hobbling down to the Lower State. I had 36 kids and half of them were banged up, so it's a process. So I think this week is going to help a lot of teams out.
You guys get to host barring anything changing, you guys get to host a playoff game in the first round against the Ainer Blue Jackets. We got to catch up with Coach Allen earlier in the year. They present some unique challenges. They do some different things, especially on the offensive side. Have you been able to dive into what they do? And like Kevin was mentioning, you get an extra week to prepare. How are you going to utilize that time to get ready for this big time matchup?
Yeah, they do. It's a unique brand of football, and it's not a common brand you see, but it is effective. And so that gives us a little time extra to prepare for it. I have run it before, so I am familiar with it, and it does help you out, especially leveling the playing field with a lot of teams. So I think it's going to also benefit us to have that extra week to prepare for him. I think he's done a great job. I think Coach now is sitting 6-4, if I'm correct, and so they've had some success down at Ainer too. So it's going to be a good one. But the thing about it here at OW, even when I play, we've always had an away playoff game. So this is quite unique for Orangeburg-Wilkinson that we are hosting a game, because it's more rare than has been happening over the past years. I'm talking about even when I was in school.
Put Founders in the game and win big with our great rates. Whether you're looking for a loan or want to grow your money with a certificate, Founders Federal Credit Union can help you move the chains on your financial goals. Not a member? No problem. Visit foundersfcu.com to see if you qualify. Federally insured by NCUA. Membership qualification required. Equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.
Coach, couple easier ones for let you go today. Maybe it's either on the bus ride to an away game or in your office on a Friday for a home game. What's on your pregame playlist as you're getting ready to take the field for action?
Basically making sure we've covered everything. You have those butterflies. Sometimes, you may be a little bit more anxious than the other coaches, but it's just making sure your guys are prepared. I think every coach kind of goes through that. And then have you covered everything that you need to cover so you can, be effective on that game night. So I know that's one of the things that always hammers with me.
Coach Carter, you cut off your background. You were quite the player yourself. You got a college scholarship, played at UT-Chattanooga. You were all-state player at Orangeburg-Wilkinson. But the coolest thing I want to say about your playing career is you got to line up with the Hall of Famer and Terrell Owens. We talked about this a little bit off air. How cool was that to see him, as he progressed through his college career and then watch his pro career as you were getting into coaching?
It's crazy when T.O. first came in, and he'll tell you the story too. He wasn't even highly recruited by UT-Chattanooga. They actually recruited the other receiver, Derek Hall. And he came, and it was just like, in the beginning, because we struggled at UT-Chattanooga, through those years, but we had some really good coaches, Coach West, Buddy Nix. We had Tommy Green that used to be at Clemson. Yeah. But, what you saw with Terrell was a real quiet guy, but every game, when we're trying to come back, he's making, 50-yard catch here, 30-yard catch here, they throw a bomb, he makes a big bomb catch, even though we're losing, but it's like, wow. I think they have a clip on us at Georgia when we played Georgia Southern. He got a long pass, ran it, probably outran about 8 people during that game. I think we were playing Georgia Southern then. So he's always been that guy. But after I graduated, you started seeing him really become the guy. But he shocked so many people when he got drafted and what he did. The 49ers, no one knew he was going to be that good, and it was like, wow, looking at it, you're like, God, that's everybody calls him T.O. We're saying that's Terrell, man. Like,
yes.
So, but just to watch him, then all of a sudden now this guy's a Hall of Fame dude. So that was quite a feat, just being able to see somebody and watch them on their journey.
Coach Jerel and I, we're big food guys. We'll be down in Orangeburg for the state titles here in about a month and a half, man. What are some spots in the area you recommend that we got to check out for a pregame meal? We're down there in the Orangeburg County area.
Orangeburg is big on food. And I start naming restaurants, man.
I got the paper. I can check them all.
Give it to us, Coach.
Because I'm here. I know you did not miss our restaurant, but you got to stop by Antley's Barbecue, Duke's Barbecue. Those places they're really rocking. You got D&B if you like that touch of soul food. Then if you want the Cajun with the shrimp, you want to go over to we got China Kitchen across, and then we got the Shrimp and Grill. And then if you want that classy meal, the salmon, then you want to go to Chestnut Grill. And so we got there's so many different places here. But those places, when you want that good old Southern barbecue, Antley's Barbecue and Duke's Barbecue is probably one of the big timers around here.
We got Duke's off the list last year, so Antley's goes to the number 1 spot. I'm super excited about that. Thanks for putting us on game, Coach. I got to ask you another thing, man. Your career has been fantastic. Again, we mentioned you being a program builder, but you've inspired so many players, and you really developed them. One in particular, Kevin and I also are Clemson guys. Mike Williams is probably one of my top 3 favorite Clemson players of all time. What was it like seeing him at Lake Marion do those crazy things? And then, he's progressed, still playing in the league to this day.
Yeah, Mike is a unique story. I think ESPN has one on us. They did a story before he was getting drafted. But Mike was a guy that and it goes even back on that story. When I first asked him to play, he didn't come out. He was basketball heavy. Yeah. And I just told him, I said, you come out, you might be able to do something. And so, but it was just through the years, just watching him. We have a famous play that during our first win, I think his freshman year, we had lost 3 games straight. And every game I would come in, I was like, hey, we need to bring this kid up, man. He's pretty good. And everybody like, Coach, he's too young. Don't do it. So after the 3rd game, I go in a JV game. We're playing cross, and he had just scored a touchdown on the pass, and then they had just scored another touchdown right behind it. So he said, Coach, you'll put me in, let me return it. I'm like, well, going back there. He nearly breaks it 75 yards and drops the ball before he goes in. So I come back in the office like, he's on varsity. I don't care what nobody says. But we had a famous play. We were down by 5 points. It was like 15 seconds to go on the clock, and we called a timeout. And one of the quarterback came over, and we're, coaches, we're like, hey, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And the quarterback goes, hey, Coach, throw it up to Mike Dub. And I was like, yeah, just throw it up to Mike Dub. And that became a signature play throughout the next 3 years. You can go back homecoming. We were down by 14 points. Throw it up to Mike Dub. And I mean,
that's still the play. That was through college, his NFL career. It's still the play. Throw it up to Mike Duff. He's gonna go get it. I love that story.
Yeah. So, but he was, just a unique player. I mean, it was like, it was just sometimes it was like you just couldn't do anything about it. Like, I remember going for a 2-point conversion. We had a 9th grade quarterback, Dariante Jenkins, who was a basketball player that came through. And he's like, Coach, they got 4 people over. I don't care if they got 5. Throw it to him. And he jumps over all of them. The coach is on the sideline, just like, forget it, man, forget it. But he was an amazing player. And you don't get guys like that, often. But, he just made the job easier, a whole lot easier.
Well, last one here for you, Coach. Obviously we mentioned you got a week off before the playoff start. What's it going to take for you guys to really peak at the right time and make a deep playoff run here in the 3A state playoffs?
I think one of the things is when you start getting in these playoffs, you got to take a game step by step. So staying healthy, our kids executing, keeping the morale, not overdoing it in practice. A lot of times some coaches, when they first get in, is bang, bang, bang. But I always say if they're not hitting by playoff time, they're not going to be hitting. And so you just got to – it's who can remain the healthiest through the season and give it everything they got. And those usually are the teams that usually winds up in the state. Of course, it's the Jimmy and Joes too, but you got to remain healthy too.
Well, this has been great. I want everyone to go follow Coach Carter and the Bruins on social media. They do a great job pumping up their kids and just info about their program. So check them out there. Like I mentioned, follow us as well at Movin Chains. Jerel, any else for Coach? Let him go today.
Coach Carter, thank you so much for your time today. We know it's really busy as you guys get prepared to make a playoff run here. Just loved getting to learn about your story today and through our research. You've had a heck of a career. Love the things that you're doing with your program there at Orangeburg-Wilkinson. You got a young team too, so it's not just this year. You guys are you're set up for plenty of success in the future. We wish you guys health through the playoffs and going forward into the offseason.
All right, and I appreciate you guys having me on too.
Appreciate it, Coach. Look forward to getting down to a game or maybe even the state title and getting to meet you in person. And best luck in playoffs. All right.
And thank you too.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right.
Get ready for the ultimate South Carolina high school football experience with Movin The Chains. From previews to recaps, we've got you covered. Dive into our expert preview shows, predicting winners and sharing insights. Then join us post-game for the thrilling recaps, exclusive interviews, and highlights you won't find anywhere else. Plus, connect with fellow fans on our Friday night spaces on Twitter/X. No one covers South Carolina high school football like us. Join us at Movin Chains on all social media platforms and visit movinchains.com today.